Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you my members over Laning 11B, COTS for being the full crew members, all the Foxpad members and all the Fishpad members. Make sure to subscribe and join our Discord as well. We talk about everything in War Thunder and other games there. So yeah, let's get into it. Today kind of a quick video, but I wanted to make a video on the SHAFRIR 2. The SHAFRIR 2 actually got a massive buff, like a massive buff. And it's even kinda, I don't know if it's better than the Aim-9G, but it's very similar, you know. And finally, at the last part of the video, I want to make a point about a certain aircraft that needs better missiles as well. We are flying a bit on the Mirage 3 here, and the SHAFRIR 2, basically what it changed, it is basically the way the Seeker works. So back in the day, first of all, the Aim-9D was always better than the SHAFRIR 2, especially because it had an uncaged Seeker. But then the Aim-9D what got nerfed, you know. And then after that, the SHAFRIR 2 got the uncaged Seeker like the Aim-9D had, or similar to the Aim-9G. So yeah, kind of a weird one, right? And I think the autopilot of it and other things were improved as well. And the Aim-9G got nerfed on its performance as well. So yeah, I don't know. I have to. I mean, in energy-wise, the Aim-9G has still a little bit more energy than the SHAFRIR. But in turning capabilities, it feels like the SHAFRIR is a little bit better, since with the bigger FOV that it got, basically, makes it in the same way that the R60 turns better. One of the reasons than the Magic and the Aim-9L is one of the reasons is because of that, because the missile actually can turn to one direction and keep looking to the other direction, so we can actually just anticipate better a target, you know. So I feel it feels like the SHAFRIR can turn better than Aim-9G right now, and changing direction and stuff like that. Not by much, but it feels like a little bit. So I don't know. And having basically the same energy, almost the same energy as the Aim-9G, makes it. I mean, it is technically a slower missile by a little bit, but still, it doesn't change the fact that the missile is very good. I mean, you see this missile on the SAR and the A4N, the Mirage 3 CJ, so many aircraft use this missile as their main armament, you know, together with the Aim-9D and stuff like that. So aircraft like the CJ, for example, here that we are flying, that only had the Aim-9D and the R530s, it's a good addition that the SHAFRIR was buffed, because now you can actually use the SHAFRIR in a better way, you know. The SHAFRIR is better than the Aim-9D. It's just comparable to the Aim-9G. And as you see here, it has a lot of range. It burns for a long time. Obviously, it is susceptible to flares, as you saw there. But it tracks pretty well, and it is a very interesting missile. I think it was a well-deserved buff that it got. Probably a realistic one as well. And especially in aircraft like especially the SAR, for example, that it is an aircraft that already is problematic because of its underpower that it has, you know, because of the different engine. So a SHAFRIR 2 actually helps an aircraft like that to be a little bit more competitive, you know. And yeah, as you saw, even with the SHAFRIR and everything like that, the Mirage 3 is also a problematic aircraft because it doesn't have flares and stuff. And it all comes down to the BR compression, as always, you know. I'm currently flying the CL13 a lot, the Mark V, because I wanted to keep it fully upgraded. And yeah, man, that aircraft, I mean, a lot of these aircraft, they suffer from this, you know. There's a lot of R60s and R60Ms and stuff like that just flying around and killing a lot of people. And yeah, maybe with some other missiles, maybe like instead of the R60, some of the aircraft could use the R55, which is a similar missile to like Aim-9D or something like that, or even other missiles or other stuff like that. It could maybe try to fix the problem, but to be honest, the main problem is the BR compression. So yeah, Uh, but yeah, it's still, the aircraft is amazing, and the Shafrir is also better right now. So try it out if you want to, and yeah. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the Kafir as well. I'm going to be posting a late clip from it, but I wanted to just get ahead of the thing. Because in the Kafir, the max missile that you can actually use is the Aim-9G, and now technically the Shafrir 2 as well, you know, with the buff, you know, it's an actual competitor to the Aim-9G, so it is pretty alright. But it is an aircraft that it is, even though I know it has a lot of potential, it has a lot of power and stuff like that, but to be honest, man, the Kafir, it needs new missiles, man, it really does, because if you compare to all the other aircraft, I mean, especially with the Mirage 2000 having Magic 2s right now, there's literally no reason why the Python 3 is not in game, and the Aim-9L is not in game for some aircraft, or even the R60M for some aircraft as well. It really doesn't make sense, you know? And especially for an aircraft that it doesn't have a radar, it doesn't have BVR, it has just a few missiles, like it has 4 missiles that are not the greatest in IR aspect, you know, so they're not even all aspect or anything like that. The cannons are problematic. I really dislike the Aidens or the Defas, if you know me. And yeah, it has a lot of power and stuff like that, but the lack of flares, the lack of radar, the lack of PVR, the poor cannons, and the missiles being kind of bad, you know, it becomes kind of a bad aircraft. It's a very, very good aircraft in a 1v1 in a dogfight, but beyond that, it's a very bad aircraft because it cannot do anything. It's an aircraft like the J7 actually, or even the F5, but especially the J7, which, I mean, if you put it, for example, a PL2 or a modernized version of a PL2 compared to like to a Aim-9G, for example, it would be just a mediocre aircraft. What it makes the J7 actually competitive, the J7E competitive in the top tier arena, is the ability to actually use the PL5B, which is an amazing missile, you know. So the principle works in the same way for the Kafir, you know. I think it really should get, maybe not the C2, but at least the C7, it needs a new missile, and yeah, the new missile would be the PL8 or the Python 3, or if you want to, the Aim-9L as well. As you see here, it tracks perfectly, it turns a lot, you know, so yeah, I think it's a very, very good missile. A pretty good missile. One of them actually missed because of the flares, but as you saw, long range shot, and the targets were fast, and I jumped on him, and the missile just tracks perfectly, so yeah, it's a very, very good missile now. So yeah, and it's kind of a BS that an aircraft like the Kafir that I was saying use this missile, or even an Aim-9G as the main missile and the top tier missile, you know, it's kind of a weird one. I understand an aircraft like the F-14 don't receive the Aim-9L for now, and only having the Aim-9H, which is a alright missile to use. And I understand even a MiG-23 MLD not having the R60M, you know, not that it's going to completely change the aircraft. But it is one of those things that it doesn't make sense, you know. We really need new missiles for some aircraft, and the Kafir is one of them. So as you see, pretty difficult to fly this aircraft when you are facing a lot of, you know, F5s and MiG-21s with R60s and A5s with Magics and stuff like that. And here we have the gameplay of the Kafir, just to show around a little bit on what it is. I'm using the 4 Shafrirs, but it's not gonna matter because, as you're going to see, I mean, I am being a little bit aggressive here, but I do this with most aircraft, and most aircraft I can deal with it. But this one is just, it cannot compete against these aircraft. Look at the amount of missiles that guy was firing. But as you see on the right side there, yeah. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I really need new missiles for the Kafir. Hopefully soon. So I see you guys on the next one, and bye guys. See ya.